Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
For millennia, the sun has been the focal point of spiritual reverence, serving as a powerful symbol of life, renewal, and divine presence among various civilizations across the globe. Among the many indigenous cultures that held the sun in high esteem, the Black Native Americans, an often overlooked and marginalized group in mainstream history, developed rich traditions of solar veneration. These communities, consisting of indigenous peoples with African ancestry, practiced intricate and profound rituals to honor the sun, seeing it as the giver of life and the divine force that governed existence. From the shores of the southeastern United States to the heartlands of the Mississippi and the vast landscapes of the Caribbean, Black Native American groups incorporated solar deities, cosmic cycles, and celestial alignments into their spiritual frameworks. These traditions, rooted in both African and Indigenous American cosmologies, created a unique synthesis of beliefs that emphasized harmony with nature, the sacred rhythms of the universe, and the importance of the sun as the supreme cosmic entity. This article delves into the history of sun worship among Black Native Americans, tracing its origins, practices, and the ways in which these beliefs were expressed through rituals, architecture, and cultural narratives. Through careful examination of historical records, oral traditions, and archaeological evidence, we will uncover the enduring legacy of solar reverence among these communities and highlight how these practices influence their worldview and spirituality. The origins of sun worship among Black Native Americans can be traced to the profound interconnectedness between Indigenous American spiritual beliefs and African religious systems. Both traditions shared a deep reverence for the sun, seeing it as the ultimate life giver, a deity of wisdom, and a force that governed all existence. Before the arrival of Europeans, African explorers and traders, such as the Mande-speaking people of West Africa, established contact with Native American societies, exchanging goods, knowledge, and spiritual traditions. As a result, African influences blended seamlessly with indigenous practices, creating a syncretic spiritual system centered on solar veneration. The ancient Mississippian culture, known for its vast ceremonial centers like Cahokia, displayed clear evidence of solar worship. The positioning of their mounds and wood henges indicated an advanced understanding of celestial alignments, marking equinoxes and solstices with precision. Many Black Native American communities, particularly in the southeastern United States, inherited and expanded upon these traditions, incorporating them into their own cosmological frameworks. Likewise, in the Caribbean, where African and indigenous populations intermingled due to the transatlantic slave trade, sun worship evolved into a resilient spiritual practice that withstood the oppression of colonial forces. For Black Native Americans, the sun was not merely an object in the sky. It was a living entity, a deity that watched over its people, provided nourishment, and governed the cycle of life and death. In various traditions, the sun was personified as a powerful god or ancestral figure who guided human existence and ensured the balance of the cosmos. In many southeastern Native American societies, the sun was believed to be the primary spiritual force, with chiefs often seen as direct representatives of the sun god. Some oral traditions speak of a great sun father who shaped the world, setting the laws of nature into motion. Similar beliefs can be found in West African traditions, where solar deities such as Liza, the sun god of the Fon people of Benin, and Are, the great sun god of ancient Egypt, played central roles in religious thought. The fusion of these beliefs within Black Native American communities created a unique spiritual system where the sun was worshipped through elaborate ceremonies and sacred rituals. Among Black Native Americans, sun worship took various forms, from daily prayers at sunrise to elaborate festivals held during solstices and equinoxes. One of the most significant rituals was the sun dance, a ceremony performed by numerous indigenous groups, including those with African ancestry. This sacred event involved days of fasting, dancing, and communing with the spiritual forces of the sun. Participants would seek visions and undergo personal sacrifices to connect with the divine essence of the solar deity. In the southeastern United States, communities conducted ceremonies at dawn, offering tobacco, maize, and other sacred items to the rising sun. Chanting, drumming, and dance accompanied these rituals, creating a rhythmic homage to the life-giving power of the solar force. In the Caribbean, enslaved and free Black Native American communities adapted their sun-worshipping practices to the constraints of colonial rule, disguising their rituals within Catholic traditions, much like how the Yoruba people fused their Orisha worship with Christian saints in Santeria. The reverence for the sun was also embedded in the architecture of Black Native American societies. Sacred temples, pyramidal mounds, and ceremonial centers were often designed with solar alignments in mind. The great city of Cahokia, home to an advanced Mississippian culture with African and indigenous ties, featured a wood hinge, a circular arrangement of wooden posts used to track the movement of the sun throughout the year. Other sites, such as Etowah in Georgia and Moundville in Alabama, displayed similar solar-oriented constructions, serving as the focal points for religious ceremonies. These sacred spaces were places of pilgrimage where people gathered to celebrate the solar cycles, renew their spiritual commitments, and seek blessings from the sun deity. The architectural legacy of sun-worshipping Black Native Americans demonstrates their deep understanding of astronomy, geometry, and the natural world, reflecting a sophisticated spiritual tradition that endured despite colonial disruptions. With the arrival of European colonizers, the spiritual practices of Black Native Americans faced relentless persecution. Missionaries and colonial authorities sought to eradicate indigenous religious traditions, branding them as pagan or heretical. Sun worship, in particular, was targeted, as it stood in direct opposition to Christian monotheism. Many Black Native American communities were forcibly converted, and their sacred sites were destroyed or repurposed for European settlements. Despite these efforts, sun worship persisted in hidden forms. Many Black Native Americans incorporated elements of their solar traditions into Christian practices, continuing to honor the sun in veiled ways. The resilience of these traditions speaks to the enduring power of their spiritual beliefs and the unbreakable connection between their ancestors and the cosmic forces they revered. The sun worship practices of Black Native Americans represent a profound and intricate spiritual tradition that blended indigenous and African cosmologies into a unique and powerful system of belief. Through rituals, sacred architecture, and oral traditions, these communities maintained a deep connection to the sun, viewing it as the ultimate source of life and spiritual guidance. Despite centuries of suppression, the legacy of these traditions endures in the cultural memory of their descendants, reminding us of the rich and complex history of the Americas and the African diaspora.